So, this is Jordan Chariton reporting to you live from the Joe Biden Debate Watch Party here at the Block in Detroit, Michigan. I'm going to wait just a minute or two, let the audience kind of grind up, get a bigger audience. The debate is still going on, but the fun here has never stopped. This has been one of the most lively experiences of my journalistic life. Ty, could you show how many people are left at this debate watch party? Yep. So let me, before I talk to some folks here, we arrived right at 8 o'clock on the dot, and this place was absolutely full of, I guess, Joe Biden supporters. Some of them, as they were leaving, aren't so sure. It was full. I'd say about 50 to 60 people, maybe.
Probably so,
Yeah, 50 to 60 people. You got the Biden hats, signs, and this was the official debate watch party. We're about, 4 minutes from where the debate is, and it was a mix. You saw a couple older people. You saw some people who were young professionals with suits. You saw some older professionals with suits. I would say more of an upscale. Sir, would you say the crowd here was a little bit more upscale, professional, managerial class?
I would say that.
I'll be back to you in a minute. Yeah, I'll be back to you in a minute. So I want to be very clear with you. Status Quo Nation. I did not come here to mock Joe Biden supporters. I did not come here to be funny or to do anything at anybody's expense, but to report the story accurately. To report the story accurately, I must. So we got here at about 8 o'clock. I'd say 50 to 60 people. I was struck that Joe Biden gave about 4 or 5 answers in the beginning of the debate. You could not hear a pin drop in the whole place. There was not one person cheering for anything Joe Biden had to say. I'm not making it up. Did you hear in the first half hour to 45 minutes anyone cheer for anything the former vice president said?
I heard a little something, but it wasn't.
Was that indigestion or you heard people cheer?
I heard a little something, but it wasn't like you would expect.
Okay.
You would expect claps and roars and all that, but it wasn't none of that.
So if claps and roars are what you would expect, you heard maybe like a little baby tiger?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
So, more accurately, I was literally clocking it. He gave 5 answers before anyone cheered. The first cheer here, I'm not trying to laugh. The first cheer here was when he used the term malarkey. This was the first cheer. Yeah, and somebody I interviewed earlier who had a Biden shirt on said that was the highlight of the night when he said malarkey. So then we moved on. The second cheer was when he said immigrants need to stand in line. Immigrants need to stand in line, which I got to tell you the truth, little Trumpian, that language. Immigrants need to stand in line, loud cheer. So at about, I would say 8:45, so 45 minutes into the debate, I start seeing people leaving. And this is a huge contrast because I was at the Bernie Sanders event last night. I was on the bottom floor. The only people I saw leave for the entire debate was a young couple with a baby carriage. That's who I saw leave before the end of the debate. It was like a frickin' sports stadium. It was so electric. Downstairs, there was at least 10 to 12 times I heard people loudly cheering. Here, I heard people cheering about 3 times. One for malarkey, one for have the immigrants stand in line, the third, I forget the third. So I was monitoring in real time how many people are leaving. Because, this is Detroit. We're not in Boca Raton where people go to bed at 7 p.m. This is Detroit, Michigan, downtown Detroit. People stay up. So I would say, I wrote it down, actually. I wrote it down. I would say that an hour and 15 minutes into the debate, 40% of the crowd had left. So that's an hour and 15 minutes. Then, I guess this fine man, Jai, he's a status quo supporter. We appreciate it. I guess you saw my tweet, so you came on down. Jai, when you came on down, you were at by the way, I don't know this guy. I haven't paid him to say anything. I don't know him. I didn't tell him what to say. When you came down here, you came down about, I'd say 9:30, so an hour and a half in. What set the scene for the folks?
Yeah, I walked in. There was no line. I walked into maybe like 12 to 16 people. It was silent. It was dead. You would think this was a funeral, and this was the former Vice President of the United States. It's pretty pathetic if you want to win Michigan. Yeah.
And I just want to be clear. I want the audience to know. I'm not like faking anything here. We're not showing any distorted things. This is literally, it was, when you walked in, would you say, how many empty tables were there? What'd you say?
Yeah, the majority of the place was empty. I think this might be a high number, like 12 people. I'm looking right now, 8, max.
And I want to be fair. I want to be fair to the former vice president. There were some moments that supporters liked here. Again, malarkey was a big one. When he said malarkey, when he said malarkey, that was a huge crowd favorite. Again, when he said immigrants need to stand in line, that was a big crowd favorite. I think they cheered when Kamala stumbled. I think I heard a cheer when Kamala stumbled. I don't remember the rest. So let's talk to someone. You came in kind of as you're like undecided but leaning Biden, right? What's your name?
We can do that. Steve Crittenden.
Okay. We talked earlier. I want to hear you for a second, because forget politics for a second, policy, any of that. This looks like a funeral home to me. This is not what you would say is an invigorating, energized. I mean, it's one bar, it's one debate watch party, but when you couple it with a lot of his rallies around the country or getting small crowds, his campaign is having him in small venues. A status quo broke the story that they had to get union guys to fill the seats because people weren't showing up. Does this give you hope for energizing the base to defeat a fascist in the White House?
So when I hear that, no. So not at all. I mean, nothing really you can say about that. It's just if you judge this, and I guess what you said, yeah, it's kind of hard to see compared to. We were just talking about Bernie. We just had a little sidebar about you got a lot of energy just because he opened his mouth. People are gonna start, going crazy. And you talk about his policy, people are gonna go crazy. But that's the energy that he brings. So if you compare that to Biden, yeah, we're not getting the same natural energy.
And I want to be fair, because some people might attack me and say, Jordan, you're distorting it, or you're just mocking the Biden people, and you're being nasty and unfair. You were here the whole time. To me, probably within 45 minutes, people started leaving. What did you see?
Yeah, probably before that. Truthfully, yeah.
The debate is still going on, but I fell asleep about 45 minutes ago, so.
Yeah. Not a lot of energy going on in here, man. So.
But what I want to know, I'm from New York City, but Detroit is like Motown. It's not like we're in Boca Raton where people go to bed at 7 p.m. So, why are people leaving? If they're here for the official Joe Biden debate watch party, why are people leaving half hour, 45 minutes in? I mean, I don't want to give my thoughts on his performance, but what did you think about his performance?
This is the second debate I paid attention to Miami, and today he doesn't look. I'm going to see what the best way to put it is. I think.
Just speak the truth, man.
No, I'm trying to think about the best way to, get my words together. I think what I think Joe Biden is, he's not really showing me that, if that makes sense. So in my head, I think he's a different guy than what he's showing me.
What's your head tell you he is?
I don't know, man. I feel like he's a strong candidate. I feel like he's a guy that should be able to, get the people out, right? I feel like it should be a different energy around.
You ever hear the crime bill, NAFTA, TPP, bankruptcy bill, Iraq War, Patriot Act?
Everybody got a pass. I heard about all that.
Well, you know, the presidential candidates past kind of dictate whether people vote for them or not.
I understand that. It's just, again, I just feel like he's not being, he just look weak, put it like that.
Did you get that? You're okay with me touching your shoulder?
Oh, go for it, man.
So, did you get this nice tie at one of his Wall Street fundraisers with caviar?
Man, not at all.
So, what I'm looking at here, and by the way, they were looking at me like a hawk the whole time I was here. Like, who is this guy? This coup d'etat. I'm looking at, generally speaking, I'd say the average age here was 40 up. 40 up. I saw a lot of guys dressed nicely, not exactly blue collar, like take a shower after work kind of guys. I saw people that, you know, for lack of a better word, or young professional, you know, not young professionals, but like
It was a mix, but it skewed older, but it was a little mix. It was a mix.
And dude, when you were watching, what were the lines from him that you think kind of stole the show?
So honestly, I don't have any. I couldn't really hear too well.
So you're blaming your hearing on this?
No, not blaming my hearing. You hear the sound in here, so I honestly didn't hear. I tried to put the earphones in the phone for a little bit, but I didn't really hear nothing. So I'll probably watch it later on tonight. I DVR'd it. I'll check it out.
So you told me earlier that, you know, I'll let you say it. You mentioned, I know this is going to sound kind of inconsistent or contradictory. What do you think is contradictory?
About the okay. I think that they're possibly better candidates than Biden, but just based on the opponent we got to go against, Trump, in my mind, again, what I think Biden is and what I think he could do, I feel like he would be the best candidate to go against Trump.
Now, I want to be clear. I'm not trying to say this in a way to be offensive, but you're black. This is the architect of the crime bill. Do you look at that as like everybody's got a past, or like this wasn't like, hey, I forgot my keys at home? This was like mass incarceration.
Again, I don't I obviously don't agree with the crime bill, obviously. But again, I feel like I told you before, I think that it's been several times in history where, you know what I'm saying, there have been bills or there have been situations where black people have been mass incarcerated. So I just don't choose at this point to go hard at him for this because of how I feel about needing to beat Trump and who I feel like can beat Trump. So I just feel like it's, you know, we not overlooking it, obviously. It's not, hell no, we're not going to overlook it. But it's one of those things where it's the lesser of two evils kind of situation.
So let me ask you, because I look at Joe Biden, if I'm keeping it real, as Hillary Clinton with a penis. It's deja vu. You got small crowds. You don't have a lot of energy. He's doing Wall Street fundraisers, breakfast, lunch, night. There's an anti-establishment mood around the country. You have somebody in Donald Trump who is going to call him NAFTA Joe, is going to call him TPP Joe, is going to call him Crime Bill Joe. I'm not saying this because I don't like him. I'm asking just politically, strategically. You're running a very similar candidate to the one that just lost. She did win the popular vote. Let's be honest, she won the popular vote. But you're running a similar candidate to the one that lost to a reality TV star. So this gives you hope?
I said the best chance to beat him. That's what I said.
So let me ask you, just by the polls, Bernie is beating Trump in every single poll, I think but one, 25 out of 26 since 2016. What, is it because he is loud, unkempt, too consistent in his words?
So what I will say, no.
No, because I hear, CNN literally keeps saying the same thing. It's like, this isn't a Broadway play that you need a new spin.
I will say the same thing. So what I will say is that based on, like, watching last night, if I had to just stop right, well, it's not over with. It's still going on. I know you said the bar is empty, but we can assume this over with, right? And based on just kind of the eye test, I haven't really listened deeply. I would
Just say it. You want to say it.
no. I said if I was a it looked like the best combo would be probably Warren and Bernie right now. They look like they worked well together last night. Like they looked like a good tag team. Like they was knocking everything. They're knocking it out the box. Based on what we've seen, in these two debates. Because, I mean, like we talked about, the energy he brings is you can't match it, right? But I don't know what it is. Like I say, y'all talk about CNN and everybody. It's some disconnect. I can't explain what it is. I don't know what it is. It's some disconnect.
Is it a disconnect, or is it a disconnect CNN is manufacturing? Because by the way, Bernie, his base is more diverse than Elizabeth Warren's base. He has young people age 18 to 29 over every single candidate. He also is very attractive to a lot of Trump voters. He's his strongest voting base is blue-collar workers with only a high school degree, which is the Trump base. Now we could get into, should we be only focusing on white workers with only a high school degree? Bottom line is, we want to win. Do you think it's legitimate that he's kind of lost his mojo, or do you think, because by the polls he hasn't?
That's what I'm telling. Like we talked about earlier. I don't the science behind it. I don't know. It's a field. I don't know if it's like media driven. Somebody putting it in my head saying Bernie not the guy.
You're a smart guy. Nobody could put anything in your head.
Crazy, man. What I'm saying but you get what I'm saying. It feel like it's something going on where that's not the way that it's gonna go. And I hate to say it. It kind of feel like last cycle, right, where they kind of phased him out the way in favor of Hillary. Even though he polled well, even though he...
phased them out is a nice way of saying it.
Yeah, they phased him out, right? So it kind of feels the same. But, man, we still got 20 people here debating, but it feels that way. But the eye test, watching them last night, watching Warren and watching Bernie Sanders last night, that looked good. Like, they look good.
So I want to ask you, because this is not to, gotcha, but I'm usually pretty good when I think somebody isn't aware of something, because CNN doesn't inform anyone. Oh, Joe Biden is speaking, so we want to be respectful. We're not going to show it because we don't want a copyright violation, but Joe Biden is speaking. I think he's saying we need to recapture America's soul right now, the soul that has the highest income inequality in the world. Actually, we're number 4 in income inequality. Nearly half of the country can't afford a $400 emergency. Homelessness is exploding around the country. The planet is burning. Pharmaceutical executives are making record profits. The fossil fuel industry is contaminating all the water. 5 months and 5 years and 3 months, Flint doesn't have clean water. Let's restore the soul of America. Thoughts?
Hey, man, listen, that's a lot going on. That's a lot. That's what I'm saying. I got to watch tonight because I don't know what he's saying.
So what I want to ask you, and I'm not trying to I'm not trying to tokenize you, but what I am asking, Joe Biden in the 1970s said, I'm paraphrasing, I don't have the exact quote, I do not believe the black man should get a head start to even the race. To me, he wasn't 15. He was in his 30s. He obviously...
What he said is, I don't believe the insinuation that they're saying that white people had got a head start over black people due to slavery. Yeah.
And we need to even the race by giving black people a bump. Obviously, he worked with a segregationist senator. I don't know. I'm not black, so... do you have a problem with that?
Of course. Oh, man, of course. I wouldn't want to. Hell no, I'm not going to support that. You know what I'm saying? And I do have a problem with it. Again, I just feel like if you dig into anybody's past, you're going to find something, right?
Do you need an Excedrin?
No.
Just make it.
Man, you silly. And again, I don't want to. No, you silly. No, I'm good. And again, I'm not co-signing Biden on anything he said is racist against black people. Obviously, I'm a black man. I don't want to hear that. But again, it's you kind of got to selectively, look. It's a lot of situations in life where I've been, at my job, you have racial issues. You just deal with it, and you look at the best. You deal with it the best way that you can. You know what I'm saying?
Have you ever watched the Titanic?
Of course.
I see an iceberg right ahead. I'm not being funny. I really do. I think that Joe Biden is Hillary Clinton. He's for NAFTA. He's still for TPP. He is not going to inspire young people. Frankly, I think once Trump strangles him with the crime bill, he's going to have a hard time bringing out the amount of black people he needs to bring out. So whether you're for Bernie, whether you're for somebody else, whatever, you're seeing a lot of the similar signs to Hillary Clinton in 2016. Yet, CNN, MSNBC, all these people are telling us we need to eat our broccoli and go with the moderate, even though the Rust Belt just rejected the moderate. Do you see iceberg right ahead, or just like?
I mean, when you put it like that, that's the part that sucks, right? I mean, obviously, when you break everything down, and I'm not 100% locked in and know every detail, but like I said, based on the first debate, and you look at, well, it's finishing now. It's finished. Like, obviously, the eye test and listening. I mean, Bernie Sanders sounds like a situation that we should get behind, right?
You sound like a closet Bernie bro to me.
I'm a guy that just we're going to look at the facts. We're going to look at what it is, right? But again, if you listen to him, sound good. But the feel, I don't know, it may be CNN, it may be MSNBC, it may be whoever.
You got to start watching Status Quo, brother.
I got to. That's what I got to do. I got to. You got a viewer right here.
You might have not. You might dress too well to be one of our viewers.
Really? All right, man.
Anyone ever tell you look like Donovan McNabb?
Man, yeah, I heard it before.
He does look like Donovan. Spell your name for me.
Steve, Steve. Last name Crittenden, Crittenden.
Thank you for being a good sport. I appreciate it. Let's see. 1 second. Can I ask you guys what you thought of the debate? What did you guys think of the debate?
Oh, I think it was a big win for Team Biden, for sure.
Really?
Absolutely.
Well, how so?
Vice President, you know what? He came out firing. He wasn't shying back. He wasn't holding back. He addressed issues head on, and he made a case why he should be the next president of the United States.
To you, why should he be?
You know what? I think experience matters. I think his entire career he's fought for working class Americans. He had a major role in Obamacare getting passed. He's helped Americans get insured, whether it's health care. He's helped advance the issues on women's rights, on racial issues, on civil liberties. I think he's the man for the job. He understands the importance of climate change. He understands that it's a national security issue. He's been in the Situation Room making real-time policy decisions and military decisions with the President of the United States. No other candidate on that stage, or yesterday, can say that. He was involved in making sure terrorists and organizations...
You know Tulsi Gabbard served.
Absolutely, right. And Pete Buttigieg served too, which I think that's crucially important. And they definitely have a say in foreign policy, and they definitely have a say in what our military troops should do. But Biden was in that room when the decisions were when the green light when the president had to say go.
You're aware he told Obama to bomb the compound rather than going with the surgical team?
Yeah, and you know what? And so was every major general in that room as well. And Obama had to make the decision. And you know, it turned out to be a great decision. But guess what? If he bombed the compound, the mission still would have been accomplished.
Now let me ask you, because you talked about fighting for working class people. You're not concerned he was for NAFTA, he's still for TPP. A lot of people in the Midwest were against Hillary Clinton because of TPP, NAFTA. He did the bankruptcy bill, a lot of things that didn't necessarily help working class people.
You know, I think we can spend all the time in the world talking about the past. Bottom line is he worked in the White House when our economy helped middle-class people. And for anyone to say that he wasn't involved in those policy decisions and had an impact, I think they're wrong.
People don't just vote on his record as vice president. They're going to look at his entire record.
Right. You know what? That's true. They're going to look at his entire record. But I think his record, there's more positive in that record than there is harm. I think no matter what, he's the candidate who can bring people together. And, you know, we don't talk about this enough. What we're really talking about, there's 20 candidates on that stage. And we're talking about every poll says there's one candidate out of those 20 who can beat Donald Trump in the swing states like Michigan, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Florida. There's one person on that stage of saying who can win.
Well, that's not true.
Is Donald Trump, or that person is Joe Biden.
That's not true.
To the polls I've seen, I believe that is
Every
correct.
poll has shown Bernie is beating Donald Trump as well. 25 out of 26.
You know, and if that's the case, but every poll is also showing that Bernie's record, or not Bernie's record, I apologize, I didn't mean to say record, but Bernie is weaker now than he was in 16, and he wasn't able to win the nomination in 16.
I mean, he ran against one candidate versus 24. Obviously, he's not going to have as much as a...
Right, and we can talk about that all day long. Bernie's going to have his time fighting the issues with Warren, and I don't think that's really what we're talking about here. I think what we're really talking about is Biden, what Biden can do for our country. And I from what my understanding and my opinion, I really think he's the strongest candidate to take it to Trump. He has the experience to do so. He has the background, and I think he's the right person for the job, for sure.
Are you concerned about energy? I mean, most of his events have a small audience. Most people here left well before the event was over. It doesn't seem like there's enthusiasm. Like, I was at a Bernie thing last night for that debate, and it was just packed. Not a lot of people left before it was over. Here, it seemed like kind of more... here is just one place, but around the country, he has kind of small venues, not a lot of energy.
You know, that doesn't concern me because I was at his first rally that he had in Pittsburgh, and let me tell you, as far as you could see, it was crowded. It was packed. You know, the people I'm talking to, I'm out there having conversations with people, he has support. And the polls show that. He does have the support. I think in one room in Detroit, a mile away from the debate, thank you. That's not going to determine whether he has the energy. I think there's people out there who support him. The polls show it. He has, and everyone I'm talking to, he has the moderate vote, and I think, and that's huge.
Do you think him as a candidate should be doing fundraisers with Wall Street, where he told them, your standard of living will not change under my presidency? Obviously, in 2016, people were revolting against the establishment, Wall Street. He's doing a lot of high-dollar fundraisers with Wall Street.
You know what? What we're really talking about here is we're talking about winning. When you look at Donald Trump's campaign finance numbers, he is blowing Democrats out of the water.
Hillary Clinton outspent Trump 2-1. She lost.
That's fine, but history tells us the person with the most money at the end of the campaign is someone who's going to be able to make it over that edge. And I know you know that.
Well, times are starting to change. I mean, Bernie, Warren, other candidates are competing with small dollar donations.
Yep, and I think Biden has just as much support from small dollar donators.
No, he doesn't.
There are a lot of people donating to his campaign, absolutely.
65 to 70% of his money is large donation.
You know, I think he has support definitely from a lot of small donors out there, a lot of Americans. The polls show that Americans want him as president. They show that he can beat Donald Trump, and they show that he's the right person for the job.
Last question. For you personally, if he became president, how does that change your life?
You know, I think it brings civility back to our country, and I think that affects every American, not just me, but everyone in this room here, everyone around the country. You know, it brings respect back to our country. It puts our place back on the world stage, and you know, it brings common sense back to our country. It shows that that there's multiple ways to do things, and not one way is right. But if you want to make an impact, you have to be able to work with others. You got to be able to have conversations with people. You have to build relationships, and I think that's something he's done his entire career. So I think if in my life, how that will affect me is that things will get accomplished. There's not going to, will decrease divisiveness in our country, and I think that's a positive for everybody.
Do you think he's going to do anything to close the income inequality gap?
Absolutely.
How?
He's fought for working class Americans his entire life. I think it will continue. He's taken a strong stance on unions, which we know help working class Americans.
No, he hasn't, though. He voted for NAFTA, TPP, which decimated unions. He's taking money from Comcast lobbyists who destroy... Comcast is a union-busting company. He hasn't helped unions.
He was in Detroit, and he spoke to union leaders and had lunch and dinners with union leaders these past few days.
Speaking is not the same thing as doing something for them.
It's starting the conversation, though, and it's going to start.
But you know about NAFTA and TPP, right?
Yes. And I think we'll make progress. I think we'll make progress. I think there's certain candidates on the debate stage who are pushing the debate, which is great. We know that Bernie pushed Hillary farther left in 2016. I think that's something fair to say. And I think that conversation will help certain issues and help advance certain issues. but I do think it will help working class Americans the same way him and Obama did together for 8 years.
What's your name?
Nick Xander. Yep. I know my life and my family's life. My parents, if I had the time to tell you a little bit of story, my parent, auto worker, healthcare worker. We lost 3 houses growing up. It was a very difficult time under the George Bush administration. Housing market crash, jobs plummeted, especially in Detroit. Auto workers weren't doing well. Obama came into office with Vice President Joe Biden. Our lives increased drastically. Are we still trying to climb ourselves out of that hole? Absolutely. But life has improved for us drastically under those policies, and I think if we continue those policies, life will get better for a lot of Americans around the world, around the country.
I'm not trying to be condescending. It's kind of a contradiction because a lot of those auto jobs left, like you're talking about, because of NAFTA and the weak regulations for protecting American jobs, which he was for. So you're kind of talking about the pain your family went through, which I feel for.
Listen, we can talk about that all day long. At the end of the day, that administration helped bail out a strike.
That administration, we're talking about Biden. He's voted.
He's a part of that administration, so therefore I believe it's fair to include him. The fact that people think that he was just, a hallowed voice around those halls, absolutely not. He was involved in these decisions. Obama has said that. President Obama, excuse me. He has, Vice President Joe Biden has said that he was involved in these decisions, and I think it's true. He had made the conscious decision to help the American workers, especially here in Detroit, when Congress said not to, when they didn't want to. They didn't want to bail out the auto unions. They did not want to help Americans in this state, in this city. And they said, no, that's not, we're going to do that. We're going to take care of people who have taken care of us. And I think those policies that help do that will continue to go into effect and continue to help working Americans.
Thanks a lot for taking the time. I appreciate it. So we're now at 1% left. 1% left at that's me and you. Oh, no, let's not forget Jai or my man over there. I forgot your name. Steve, thanks for doing this. Oh, you want to take a picture? Yeah. Hold on one second, audience. Let's do it. Hang tight. We got a lot more to go on this live stream. Press the like button. If you have not smashed the like button, it's the thumbs up button right under the video. Press that like button. Status quo, if you want to check it out. Yeah.
You're going to hit me on NAFTA for sure, right now.
Yeah, we're live right now. So where do I begin? Let's see how many people are watching, just so I know. Okay, so we got here around 8 o'clock, and we wanted to do something a little different. We wanted to see what is the Biden crowd. So we got here at 500. So we got here around 8 o'clock, and in fairness, it was packed. I'd say there was like 50 to 65 people here at the block in Detroit. So, sir, remind me, come here. When did you start seeing people walk out? Half hour or 40 minutes in?
Probably about a half hour.
Okay.
Probably about a half hour. Okay.
And about an hour and a half in, you'd say it was 50% empty?
About that, a little more, something like that, yeah.
And you'd say the crowd, the largest cheer was when he said malarkey, or for immigrants to stand in line?
We gonna go with malarkey, man. Malarkey.
Thank you. Losing my mind here. So I'm being honest. This is not me mocking him. This is what happened. So he was getting it from all angles, Joe Biden. Kamala was going after him. Cory Booker's going after him. Mayor Bill de Blasio, I won't fire a cop who choked out a black man. De Blasio was going after him. Everybody's going after him. But what was really striking here was, hey, Jai, come over here. What did you call it when you walked in? It resembled what to you?
Oh, a retirement home.
Okay.
Dead silent.
Dead silent.
So
when you walked in, it was about an hour and a half in?
Yeah, easy.
And what was the mood? Was there excitement, energy, a lot of people?
Like 12 people. There's nobody in here. There's just nobody in here. Mm-hmm. Again, former vice president, Michigan, battleground state. It's pretty sad. Yeah.
So Ty and I were basically, and we recorded this, so we're going to have a video that shows you the chronological order of what things happened. It literally looked to me it kind of looked like a bar mitzvah when people leave before dessert. You know, you're not supposed to leave the wedding or the bar mitzvah before dessert. People just kept leaving and leaving. And I was wondering, because my context, I was at a Bernie event last night where the only people I saw leave early was a young couple with a baby, walking a baby in the carriage, a couple older people, but by and large, everybody stayed. Tulsi event, the same thing. They actually waited for her for 45 minutes after the event. Here, and again, only one event, only one bar, but this is a microcosm of people's, this is a microcosm for people's excitement for Joe Biden. Literally, they cheered when he said malarkey. They cheered when he said immigrants need to stand in line. This is who's going to defeat Donald Trump. I am not saying this to be pedantic. I'm not saying this to be grandiose. I'm saying this because iceberg right ahead. And when you see this video, folks, I said to Ty, this is literally better than The Onion. This is better than The Onion, and we didn't even have to try. The majority of people were gone an hour and 15 minutes into the debate. The only cheers were for twangy talk and telling immigrants to stand in line, which is what Trump says. By the way, I interviewed one gentleman. I wish him the best. One gentleman literally told me, I think his effort was terrible. He was wearing a Biden shirt. I said, "Are you sure you're a Joe Biden supporter?" "I'm not sure after tonight." Deadpan this guy's face. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And at the end of the day, whether you agree with Biden, whether you don't, whether you like Bernie, whether you like Warren, whether you like Tulsi, whether you don't like anybody, don't you need energy to defeat Donald Trump? Donald Trump, for 3 years, has been talking to one audience, his base. He don't care about anybody else expanding his base. And they're going to come out for him. But at this watch party, and by the way, this is not one event. I covered Joe Biden's foreign policy speech in New York City 2 weeks ago. It was literally a crowd of maybe 40 people. They blocked off the media in back from going up to talk to those 40 people. His campaign is literally having him at small venues. Status Quo broke the story, I think a week ago, that at a union hall, they had to ask people that work at the union to be seat fillers because there were empty seats. This is the former vice president of America at a union hall cannot fill the seats. You will not hear this on CNN. You will not hear this on MSNBC. Iceberg right ahead. I don't care what the polls say now. You tell me the polls say this now. Let me tell you something. The polls said Donald Trump was not going to win the Republican nomination. The polls said Donald Trump could never beat Hillary Clinton. And the polls said Hillary Clinton, the New York Times actually had Hillary Clinton on election night, 99%. So don't tell me about the polls. Energy, one of you said the eye test. Come on over here. Come on over here. He didn't get this tie at a Biden Wall Street fundraiser. You said the eye test. You're not a Bernie supporter, but you said the eye test last night, Bernie and Warren, tonight, Biden.
Yeah, just based on the energy of all 20 people that we've seen in 2 nights, a Warren Sanders ticket, as far as energy and just, like, say if I watched it with the volume off, there's a lot of passion going on, right? They going at people, they talking, they got comebacks, they got facts with policies, you know what I'm saying? And it's hard to argue with the contrast of Joe Biden, kind of low energy. Again,
low energy Jeb Bush. Who's got more energy?
No, he ain't that bad, but he ain't that bad to me at least. But I gotta go home and watch it because I couldn't hear it that well.
But I want to ask you a question, and I'm not trying to be funny. I've seen some meditation retreats have more energy than this. Literally, there are people walking out within a half hour of the former vice president. This was his do or die debate, by the way. His supporters should be most into this debate because the first debate he didn't do that well. And people are walking out. I'm interviewing people who don't even know what policies he has. I asked that gentleman over here, nice guy, no knock on him. He says, well, he sat with Obama. He sat with Obama. He says, oh, he sat with him when he took out Obama. I said to the guy, you know that Osama, not Obama, Osama. I said, Biden told Obama to go in and bomb, which probably would have been a disaster. So, well, he was still there with him. I said, you're not concerned about his record before before Obama? Well, he was in the White House with Obama. Maybe this is why Biden is for dear life hugging Obama.
Yeah, almost like it saved him, saved his record in some way. I mean, we put it like that. Yeah, you can't. I mean,
Will you tell me what you?
Let's move over here because we're kind of in her way.
Yeah. Will you tell me what you think after you watch it on DVR? Because I'd like to see the before and after.
I would love to. Yeah, I'll tell you. I can tell you, but I'll watch it and listen. But again, it didn't grab me. It didn't grab me right so far. So I'll watch it and I'll
When you came here, you were undecided but leaning Biden.
Oh, for sure, yeah, definitely. I had to sign and everything. I was actually over across from the Fox with the Biden people. Yeah. I still got the sign. I ain't throw it away. I still got the sign. But I was with the Biden people and some Kamala Harris people. Like I say, I'm listening, right? I'm open, listening to see what's going on. But
and you've seen the movie The Titanic.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No resemblance.
Yeah, I get where you at. I see where it's going. We got 20 people still.
Okay.
And we'll see how it looks.
Hashtag apologist. We'll talk later. No, I'm kidding. Thanks, Ben. So when you see this video, Ty's going to probably be up all night doing this. I kept him up last night with.
I said because I haven't slept in 2 days editing.
He's also. I've kept him up with my insane snoring. I got to get a sleep test. Apparently, I snore like an elephant. Anyway, what's striking to me about this is you could tell a lot. You could tell a lot more at rallies. You could tell a lot more when you're in a community looking at yard signs and enthusiasm. You could tell a lot more how someone's going to do in places like this and local communities than you could tell watching CNN. I promise you, no one from CNN or MSNBC has talked to one breathing, living person other than each other. There is no enthusiasm for Joe Biden. The polls say what they say, but there's no enthusiasm. And the problem with that is you might have the same people that came out for Hillary Clinton come out for Joe Biden. The problem is we don't have a sane electoral system in this country. We have the Electoral College. And by the Electoral College, it doesn't matter if Joe Biden were to get more votes than Donald Trump. It just matters, does he get more votes in Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Iowa in the general election? This is where he needs to win. If in Michigan, this was the Debate Watch Party. I'm sure there were some at some Wall Street banks too, but this was the official Debate Watch Party. Literally, it was 60 to 75% empty before it ended. That is a problem. Midway. That's a problem. And, interviewing some of these Biden supporters, you're going to see, I spoke with a very nice woman. I don't want you to attack her. She's a college student. She was nice. She just doesn't know too much. It's not an attack. She's a college student. She doesn't know a lot. Other people I spoke to, they either just totally kind of push away the bad stuff, almost like a cognitive dissonance. Well, that was the 1970s. Doesn't matter now. Oh, he said women shouldn't be the sole decider of what they do with their own body. Well, he's a Christian. He says, to insinuate the white man should be punished and the black man should get a head start because the white man's in society has always been ahead. Well, that was then. This is now. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And I will say this. CNN did an amazing job the last 2 days creating an alternate reality. Go to statuscoup.com right now. We broke a story today. CNN was literally telling police, to block Bernie Sanders supporters from coming in to what they call the visibility zone. The visibility zone is basically where supporters of various candidates go to stand with their signs, cheer on, and be on camera as the commercials go, as CNN goes to commercial. You got to kick us out? Huh? Oh, okay. Don't send me to jail. Oh, I love you too. So the visibility zone is where the candidates are supposed to stand. CNN literally parked Bernie Sanders supporters behind a massive CNN logo where you couldn't even see them on air. They were letting Elizabeth Warren supporters come in with massive signs to be prominently shown when CNN goes to commercial, and they had Bernie Sanders in the crowd, like the sad kid who doesn't want to go into the pit at Ronald McDonald's house. This is what CNN is doing. And they are basically, there was literally, if you read my story, did you see the video? The video shows literally 3 Biden supporters standing next to a sea of Warren supporters and a few people from Bernie. They wouldn't let in between 100 and 200 Bernie supporters. And when the Bernie supporters were pushing back on the police, I see Warren people coming in very easily. I see Marianne Williamson people coming in very easily. The police said, take it up with CNN. Take it up with CNN. What does that tell you? The police were literally being told by CNN, let these people in, give these people the runaround. This is the worldwide leader in news. Meanwhile, I could go to a bingo hall down the street with more energy than this place. Now, some people are going to watch me and say, what a Bernie bro. Ugh, Jordan, he's not a journalist. He's just an ambush journalist. I literally was sitting down the whole time as the people left. I said to Ty, The Onion couldn't do a better video than this. This is an Onion video without even trying. When you see this video, I think Ty is going to do great work. We're not even going to have to selectively. You got to go? Hey, there you go. Sorry about that. No problem. Literally, we don't even have to selectively edit anything. You're going to see people coming, like leaving a half hour in, an hour in. It was half empty. No, it was almost fully empty by the end. Ty, what did you see tonight? Let's ask Ty. Am I making it up?
No, you're not. Just be careful because I got the thing connected. No, you're not making it up. You exactly right. Well, what you saw is the evidence of manufactured consent. This is what they try to do. The reason why, I forgot the guy that did the tweet of the montage of MSNBC grilling Bernie Sanders. What was his name? Anyway, this is what they do. They continue to put this out there so people can believe, so people can maybe have the insinuation that, oh, Biden is winning. He's the most viable candidate. So let me vote for them. The people that aren't diligent and aren't doing any research will say, oh, they said Bernie can beat Trump. Let's go with him. And they're going to do that. And then the people that's actually going out to vote, they're going to react the same way that they reacted in 2016, because now Biden is in the general and no one's coming out to vote. And guess what? We're going to have another 4 years of Trump. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I'm telling you, if y'all don't get it right, y'all don't be diligent, because the DNC, you gotta understand, Trump has fractured white liberals' existence. Everything about them, he's fractured because he's put it in their face. They just want to live right again and ignore the poor without somebody throwing it out there and without somebody, telling the truth. So they don't mind living without any consequences. But if they're living with someone that continues to put it in their face, then they don't want that person. That's the only reason they don't want Trump in office. It's just 4 minutes. It's just because he puts the truth out there instead of keeping it in the shadows where nobody can see. But it is what it is, dog. You guys got to be out here, and I think this is a great example of why it's very important to have progressive media out on the ground seeing it. Because if we're just watching the news, or if we just seeing even progressives just pontificate in front of a camera at home, you can almost believe what CNN and MSNBC is saying about the support of Biden. Think about this. They say he can win Michigan. He can win whites, the working class in Michigan. This is him in Michigan in a debate. They would have been out here live, deep, just out here for him. They will still be out here. We would probably got into it with a gang of people because we disagree with them. It's nobody here. That speaks volumes. I'm talking about, I don't know how many millions are in this city, but it's nobody here. Now, you think about this. If we got 50,000 subscribers, we can depend on at least 500, 600 when we go live. What is that, about 5%, something like that, to go live, period. If you got a million.
We got almost 60,000. No, you're wrong.
Okay. If you got let's just say you got a million population, at least 5% we can guarantee. Well, let's say out of the million, let's say 50% is for Biden. You should at least be able to expect, let's say 500 to come. There's no one here. Even when it was full, it was only 60. Period.
So I got 4 minutes of battery, and these folks want me to go. So my closing. Yeah. We're almost out. Sorry. So this is status quo. We keep everybody here. Yeah. So let me make a direct plea. The glasses have to come up for this. Okay. I think there's 700 something people watching right now. Let me tell you something. The days of us getting credentials are over. We ain't getting into Joe Biden's events probably. I doubt it if CNN or MSNBC are ever letting us in. But we're going to continue coming out here because the story is on the ground. It's not inside the building. It's not with the bourgeoisie. It's not with Jeff Zeleny at CNN and Dana Bash and Jake Tupperware and all these people. It's out here at these events because if Joe Biden becomes the nominee and when he loses, status quo will be able to go back to nights like this and say, we were here. We reported what was actually happening. We were showing you the lack of enthusiasm, and y'all didn't listen. The only way we can do it is with you. Status quo could only grow as far as you take us. We have not taken one meeting with a corporate plutocrat. We have not taken one meeting with ExxonMobil, Pfizer, Goldman, Facebook, real estate sleaze, any of that. We are growing $5 a month, $10 a month, or $179 annually. If you live on a fixed income, if you're struggling, we get it. Do not join us as a member. But if you have $5 a month, if you have $10 a month, if you could even do $179 annually, become a Status Quo member now. Statusquo.com/join. Statusquo.com/join. It's how we pay Ty. It's how we pay Jen, who's in the super chat. It's how we even have a travel budget. I have sunk in quite a lot of my very small money left into this business, but that's not sustainable. The only way to grow a true, I don't want to borrow from Bernie, but I will, from the ground up media organization is through membership. We don't rely on clicks. We don't rely on big advertising. We don't rely on corporate sponsorships. We rely on paid membership. A lot of networks, not going to name any names, ask you for money and ask you to sign up as a member, and what do you get? Trump, Trump, Trump. Russia, 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 stormy, 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 fill in the blank. We're out with the people. In 2 days, we just kind of played it by ear, but we broke a pretty big story that they're basically just blacking out Bernie Sanders supporters at these events. We came here to actually show you that if you want to go Biden, you're talking 4 more years of Trump, most likely.
Are we for the working class?
Are we for the working class?
Yeah. Because working class want to go home.
Right, the working class want to go home, so we got to go. Become a member, statusquo.com/join. Please come back to the channel tomorrow. Once you see this video that Ty's going to put together, I don't want to give you empty promises. Make sure you're on a full stomach. Make sure you haven't had any laughing gas. And make sure you sign up as a member right now. Statusquo.com/join. Become a member for as low as $5 a month. Also, go to statusquo.com right now. Join our email list. That's how we grow also. We will not spam you 5 days a week. Statuscoup.com/join. Remember, most people are not lacking compassion in this country. Most people have no ever-loving fucking idea what is going on. Peace out.
Peace out.